Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Code Brat. Have you ever wondered why your SQL update fails? In SQL, changing just one value can create a ripple effect across your data. For example, if a user ID is changed in the user table, then what happens to the orders belonging to that user in the orders table? Do they disappear or what happens to them? In this video, we will see how to update your data using another table and more importantly, how Cascade and SET NULL work together to keep your data in sync. So let's get started. Do you know that we can update the value of a table using another table as well? Let's see this with some examples. So to demonstrate this, we will use users table and profiles tables. So let's see the data of these two tables first. So we got here query 1 and then query 2. Query 1 is the data of users table and query 2 is the data of profiles table. So if you see query 1, here we can find that username column is there which is having these values and user ID column is there which is having numeric value. And in query 2 as well, we have user ID column which is having numeric value, and then here we have profile name column, and there is a relationship between these two tables. So if you see the profiles table, this user ID is coming from the user ID column of this users table. So if you see here, user ID equal to 1 2 3 4, all these are present in user ID column of profiles tables as well, right? So this is the primary key and foreign key relation between these two tables. Now if you see query 1 again, here you can see that username is having alpha, beta, gamma, delta, all these names. And in query 2, we have profile name. But if you see here for user ID 1, we have two names here, alpha and kiddo. And then for user ID 9, we have profile name as baby. But when you see query 1, that is users table, for user ID 1, we have name as alpha. And for the user ID 9, we have name as micro. So we can see that in profiles table, it is having different profile name, but in users table, we have different username. And how is it happening? So consider this with an example of Netflix. So when you create an account on Netflix, you give some username, but when you log in, there is an option to make certain number of profiles there, and you can set different names for those profiles. So same profile name is there here as well. So profile names can be different and username can be different. But now I want to sync these two tables. And how do I want to sync? I want this username to be exactly same as the profile name. So this we can do using update statement, DML update statement. So let's write the update statement here. Update what? Update the users table, because that's where we want to do the change. Set, I want to change the username here. So I will write here username. And what do I want to set here? Username is equal to what? Username is equal to profile name. Profile name from where? Profile name from profiles table. So here I will write profile name. Profile name from where? We need to mention from where we need to change the data, from which table we need to take the reference. So here from the table name, what is the table name? App dot user profiles. And now we need to give the condition. If I execute this right now, so what will happen? Will it throw error? No, it will not throw error. Instead, every row of the users table will be updated, all the 10 rows. I want corresponding values to be updated. For example, if you see here, user ID equal to 9, here it is having micro as the username. And here if you see, user ID equal to 9, it is having baby as the profile name. So this baby should go here. Instead of micro, it should be baby here in the users table. So for that, we need to put some condition here, correct? So that corresponding data only will be updated, not the wrong data. So here I will write where condition, where what? I want to update only those tables where user ID is matching. So here I will write user ID of users table is equal to user ID of profiles table. So this is from the users table and this is from the profiles table. But if we execute this, what will happen? It will throw error. Let's see this. Let's execute this. See, it is throwing error because we are mentioning user ID equal to user ID, and the database doesn't know which user ID it needs to take, whether it's from the user table or whether it's from the profile table. So that's why I need to put some alias here. And what do I mean by alias? So let's understand aliasing first. So alias is another name that we give to any object in a database, maybe for a view or maybe for a table. So here, if I want to give this table another name, what can I write here? I can write any name. Maybe I can write A here. So this A will represent this users table. And same way for profiles table, I will give alias as B, right? So this is one of the method of giving aliasing. And second method is, here I will write as A, and here I will write as B. So this is the second method of giving alias. Now I want to mention that this user ID belongs to the users table and this user ID belongs to profiles table. So here I can write A dot user ID and then here B dot user ID. Now the database knows that okay, this user ID belongs to users table and this user ID belongs to profiles table. Now if we run this, what will happen? So it will update all the matching rows. And what do I mean by all the matching rows? Let's run this select statement again. Here user ID 10 is having username as Mega. And here user ID 10 is also having the name Mega. So this condition is satisfied. So username in the users column will get updated to Mega again. Right? Mega will be changed to Mega again. And for the user ID 9, it is having username as Micro. And if you see the profiles table here, user ID 9, it is having the name Baby. So this Micro will be changed to Baby. Similarly for all these user IDs. But if you notice here, this user ID 1 is having the profile name as Alpha. And again, the same user ID is having profile name as Kiddu. So this user ID is having two profiles, Alpha and Kiddu. But when we are updating using this condition, what will happen here? This user ID 1 will get updated to Alpha or will it get updated to Kiddu? So that we don't know how it will be updated. It is unpredictable. We cannot predict what values will be updated in place of Alpha. Either it can be Alpha or it can be Kiddu. So we have to make sure that one target rows does not match multiple source rows. That means in the source table, that is profiles tables, we should not have multiple matching rows. So that's why we will get unpredictable update. Okay, so coming back to the update statement. So I just told you that it will update all the matching names. But I do not want that. I want only those names to be updated where names are different. For example, here if you see for row number 9, that is user ID equal to 9, it is having name as Micro. And in the second table, it is named as Baby. So I want Micro to be updated as Baby. I want to update only where profile name and username are not matching and for the same user ID. So here I will write another condition and A dot username is not equal to B dot profile name. Now let's run this. And 4 rows have been updated. Let's see the data again. So if you go to the query 1, if you see here user ID equal to 1, it is updated to Kiddu. And this was the name that I was talking about, that it can be unpredictable. So right now it's updated as Kiddu, but it can happen that it will be updated as Alpha also. But this time it has been updated to Kiddu. And if you see row number 9, it is updated to Baby. And if you see row number 4 and 5, it has been updated to Samosa and Garlic Bread. So these are the 4 rows that are updated. Hope this would be clear to you. If you have any doubt, you can write in the comment section. Now next topic is returning. So here when we did the update, it shows that one row has been affected, but it did not give me the data that has been affected. So for that, I can write here one keyword. Let me copy it down and paste it here. And after this, I will write one keyword returning. And returning, I can give star. So this star means it will return everything. So let's run this again. Yes, so it returned all the columns of this row that has been affected. But now I do not want all the columns to be present here. I want only few columns, maybe user ID and then the username, because this username column is only which is getting affected, right? So I want only these two columns here. So let's run this again. Okay, I need to give alias here. It is a.userid and then this is a.username. Yes, I got these two columns here, one and Kidu. Understood? Let's move on to the next topic, which is update with constraint and relation. And this is a very important for you. This is very important for your project. This is very important for your interviews. So let's see this in detail. Okay, so we have this plan table. Let's see whether we have any data in plans table or not. Yes, we have some data here. And this is the DDL of the plan table. And here we can see that price and max profiles, these are having some check constraints. For price, the check constraint is that price should always be greater than 0, and for max profiles, max profile should always be equal to 1 or greater than 1. So let's see what will happen if we update the otherwise. So let's write the update statement. Update the table name, which is app.plans table. Set what? I want to set this free price as negative or 0. So set price is equal to 0.0 or 0.00, where plan ID is equal to 1. So I want to update this free plan with price 00. Let's see what will happen if we run this. We got an error. What is the error here? Plans violate check constraint. So we cannot update it as 0 because we have put the check constraint here that price should always be greater than 0. That's why it is failing. So whenever we put any constraint, maybe not null constraint or check constraint, and when we try to violate that constraint, it will throw error. And same will go for the profiles tables as well. So if you see the data of profiles table, let's run this again. And we have some data here. And if you see the DDL of this profiles table, here we have mentioned that profile name should not be null. So what will happen if we try to update this profile name as null? It should throw error, right? Let's confirm this. Update app.profiles table, set profile name is equal to null, where profile ID is equal to 3. Let's run this now. And as expected, we got this error here. So we cannot update it as null. Now if you see the DDL of this table again, you can see that we have some relation here. We have put user ID as foreign key, and which is referencing the user ID from the users table. And then we have put this constraint here on delete restrict and then on update cascade. So for this delete restrict, I will create a separate video. Since we are focusing on update right now, so I will only focus on update cascade here. Okay, so let's see the data again of the profiles table. Here if you see, this user ID column is there, and which is being referenced from the user ID column from the users table. So what will happen if I try to update this user ID here from the users profile table? Let's try this. Update the table name, which is user profile, then set user ID. User ID is equal to maybe 11, where user ID is equal to 1. So what am I trying to do here? we have this user ID equal to 1 here, and here also 1 here, and I am updating this 1 to 11. Let's see what will happen if we run this. We got an error, and that's what we were expecting, because we cannot update the value of a child table which is being referenced from some another parent table. Now you may ask that if I cannot update this but I want it to be updated, then what can I do here? For that, you need to update the parent table, not the child table. So parent table is users table. Let's see the users table data again. Users table is app.users table. Here user ID is equal to 1 is kiddo right now. Now I will update this user table. We'll copy it and then paste it, and then instead of profile I will just write users, and then update this, set user ID is equal to 11 where user ID is equal to 1. Now let's run this. One row has been affected, so this means we have updated our user. Let's see the data again. Select star from app.users where user ID is equal to 1. We did not get any data. Why is that? Because we have already updated 1 to 11. Now 1 doesn't exist in the table itself. Now instead of 1 I will write 11 here, and when I run this I should get the data. Yes, I got this data, and now user ID is 11 instead of 1. Now let's see the child table, and child table is profiles table. Select star from profiles table where user ID is equal to 1. Here also we did not get any data, and if I change 1 to 11, shall we get the data? Yes, we got the data. And why is it happening? Because here if you see, in the DDL statement we have written on update cascade. It means that whenever you are updating the parent table, it automatically gets updated in the child table, that is in the profiles table. Now we have one more constraint here. Suppose instead of on update cascade, it would have been on update set null. Then what will happen in that case? So in case of on update set null, when you try to update the child table, you cannot do it, because this user ID is being referenced from the user ID of the parent table, that is the users table. So that's why you cannot update it. But you can update the parent table, right? So when you update in the parent table, the child table, the user ID value will become null. So I have shown you all the update statement that you need to learn, and you need to practice it. Thanks for watching.